Okay, there it goes. And I was like waiting for it to say live, but we are live now. What is going on, guys? K Dog's Kennel coming at you alongside good friend, and also I don't know if she noticed it last night because I didn't realize it myself last night. Also, my channel's newest moderator, my good friend Holly's Adventures,
No, I
made
didn't
her a
thank
moderator.
you.
Well, see, I thought I did because I know Big Baby's one of my moderators, and I had thought I made you one as well, and I kept looking. I'm like, why does her name look? It didn't look right. I was like, oh, I'm like, apparently I hadn't. So, but yeah. Um, but Holly is now a moderator for the channel. She has been she and I have kind of supported each other the last several months. It's been an awesome ride. We've been doing these football picks the last few weeks, which have been really
Really
fun.
fun.
Uh, we've had laughs, heartbreaks with them, and just flat out embarrassments. But you know what? It's the joy of football. But we're coming at you with week 7 of the NFL season. Coming off a pretty good week for both of us last week. Went 11-4 last week, bringing me to 49-28 for the season. Holly went 10-5 last week, bringing her to 35-26. The one game that we went against each other on was Houston and New Orleans, which honestly could have went either way. The Texans pulled that one out. We got a couple games this week that could definitely go either way, and I've actually got a couple. Actually, I think I got 3 upsets. I'm gonna roll the dice, so to speak, on this week. We're gonna kick things off with Thursday night. Very interesting matchup: the 4-2 Jacksonville Jaguars taking on the 3-3 New Orleans Saints. Um, Kind of a little bit of a coin flip on this one because the Saints have been up and down all season, and it just kind of makes you wonder. We've talked a lot the last several weeks about various teams, about which team is going to show up. And that's really going to come down with this as to which Saints team is going to show up. Jacksonville had a big win against Indianapolis last week. The Colts, which we'll talk about here in a minute, big injury news on them coming out of last week. But I've got the Jacksonville Jaguars winning on the road. I think top to bottom, I think the more Calvin Ridley and Trevor Lawrence connect, if you will. I think the better that team is going to be, and I think Jacksonville throughout the early part of the season. It's hard to believe we're almost midway through the season already, but Jacksonville has kind of shown by beating Buffalo a couple weeks ago. They have the potential to be an AFC powerhouse. It's just a matter of they can put everything together for more than a week. But I like Jacksonville on the road this week.
I think I had to agree with that one. Jacksonville has shown some really good potential this year. Starting off rocky, and now they're at a steady incline. I mean, not saying that they're top contenders for the Super Bowl by any means, but they're definitely showing the league that they are good contenders compared to the Saints, who um, have had ups and downs this year. But I have to go with Jacksonville.
Yeah, gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. Then we move into Sunday. We have the 3-3 Las Vegas Raiders taking on the 1-5 Chicago Bears. Again, a game a couple of weeks ago, the Bears put 40 points on the Washington Commanders, had their bye week. Um, I have the Bears at home. I think the Justin Fields, DJ Moore connection is getting a little bit stronger. The Raiders, they've strung together a couple of wins over Green Bay and New England, respectively. I think it's not going to be a shock if the Vegas Raiders win. I just, as bad as the Bears have been, I just don't see them as a 1-5 team. They have the playmakers on both sides of the ball. It's whether they can execute on the field, and that's really what it comes down to. No pun intended to Justin Fields, but I don't know. I think it's because they're at home. I don't know. I cannot defend this pick, but I'm taking the Bears at home over the Raiders.
Uh, this one's it's a toss up because neither team has really showed me anything this year. Now, granted, yes, the Bears have really come off of a fantastic win, Commanders. So that really just shows us that they are contenders worth playing. So it's just going to be on which team's going to really show up and what are they going to do with this. But I think the Bears have a good chance this year
Ooh,
against the Raiders.
ooh. So you taking the Bears?
I'm taking the Bears.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, I picked them twice this year. They've let me down. We'll see what happens. Next up, the four or no, I'm sorry, 3-2 Cleveland Browns taking on the 3-3 Indianapolis Colts. I'll tell you, the Browns impressed me last week. They held the 49ers to 17 points last week. Very impressive coming off that San Francisco is one of the top scoring teams in the league. I figured it would be close, but all the credit to that Browns team. That defense stepped up big against a very game 49ers team. 49ers did lose Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey in that game. McCaffrey does not look like he's going to miss any time at all. I've heard nothing on Debo. The Colts, on the other hand, star quarterback Anthony Richardson is going to be done for the year with an AC joint injury in the shoulder, requires surgery. So more than likely, he's going to be done for the year. Gardner Minshew is going to be taking the reins for the Colts, and Gardner's he's a journeyman. He's been around the league for a while, but that Browns defense, I'm telling you, that is their bread and butter. Regardless of whether PJ Walker was in place of Deshaun Watson last week. Didn't play a great game, but he really didn't need to with the way that Browns defense was playing. That being said, the Colts have kind of been wishy-washy throughout the year. But I do think the Browns have one of the best defenses in the league right now. I like Cleveland on the road this week.
Definitely got to agree with that one. The only thing I can at least say for them is do not let that win go to your head, because I mean, look what happened with Dallas. They let that win in the first week against the Giants, and then what happened? They come off with the lose. So
Right.
don't to their head, but I mean, they definitely got the defense for it. So Browns it is.
Yeah, I'm very. I thought, like the Browns would get tested, but it was really the other way around. The Browns put on a clinic in that game. Hats off to them. Next up, AFC East matchup: 4-2 Buffalo Bills taking on the 1-5 New England Patriots. Patriots are a bad team. I've really tried to give the Patriots a benefit of the doubt. With being coached by Bill Belichick, one of the best coaches in the league. He's coached the Patriots since the year 2000. Obviously, Belichick's brought 6 Super Bowls to the Patriots. Of course, that was with Tom Brady, not Mac Jones. There's actually been talks from Patriots owner Robert Kraft, if things don't turn around, that at the end of the season, Bill Belichick might be going bye bye in New England. But actually, Holly actually mentioned that I think it was either last week or the week before that New England may choose to move off of Bill Belichick. As good as Bill Belichick is, you can coach 10 years, 20 years, hell 30 years. It's just really. If you're not producing wins, yes, your players are producing those wins, but you as the head coach are responsible to put together, a schematic, if you will, to get the job done. And New England has faltered at every turn this year. Buffalo, they struggled against the Giants last week, but I do think that just where these two teams are, I like the Bills on the road. The Patriots' woes are going to continue. They're going to eventually win another game, but I mean, Buffalo is a powerhouse in the AFC and will be throughout the playoffs. This is like again is a tale of two teams going in opposite directions. Where New England's falling off the grid, Buffalo is getting back up there, or rising to the occasion rather. So I got Buffalo on the road.
Definitely agree. I mean, New England didn't just fall off the grid; they like plummeted off the uh, off the cliff there. I mean, they this is the worst I've seen the Patriots in a long, long time. I mean, not saying that they have a bad team, and I'm not saying Belichick is a bad head coach, but some disconnect is going on there, and they need to figure it out and really quick. But Buffalo has a really outstanding offense and defense. Definitely are going to be really good contenders this year for the playoffs. We'll have to see where it goes from there, but I have to go with the Bills on this one.
Yeah, Buffalo the last 2 or 3 years have shown that spark, and then it's like they get to the playoffs, and then they hit
Right.
Kansas City, and it's like, oh, we have to play these guys, and then they get um, Buffalo, though, fun fact about Buffalo: Buffalo is the only team in NFL history to go to 4 straight Super Bowls and lose them all. It's just, I would love to see Buffalo win it just for that principle alone, but still a lot of season left. But we'll see what happens there. Next up, NFC East matchup: the 3-3 Atlanta, or excuse me, the 3-3 Washington Commanders taking on the 1-5 New York Football Giants. I flipped on this one twice. I had the Commanders and I had the Giants, and then I went back to the Commanders on this game. Sam Howell, he's not ideal, but the Commanders have at least been, minus the game against Chicago, have been in every game this year. They even took the Eagles to the limit a couple weeks ago.
Hmm.
So I mean, the Commander, they're not a bad team. The Giants, on the other hand, Daniel Jones is not the answer at quarterback. I have never been sold on Daniel Jones. I think last year it was more, the Giants, Saquon Barkley, the defense that really let them be a playoff team last year. Um, but the Giants this year have just kind of faltered. They've sputtered. You mentioned earlier, about they got shut out by Dallas in Week 1, and it just seems like the Giants have not really gotten out of the starting block, if you will. They just, and when they do make a run, if you will, it's usually too little, too late. They took Buffalo to the limit last Monday night, or was it Sunday night? I think it was Sunday night they played, but I was in Missouri, so I didn't really see any of it. But between the two teams, I've got to go with the Commanders. Sam Howell's riding a hot hand right now, um, and I just think they're in a better place right now than the Giants. Um, Again, the Giants, they're better than a 1-5 record, but until they start showing me something, it's really hard to pick for them. So I am going to go with the Eagle. Or good lord, I'm all over the place. The Commanders on the road. I'm tired. I've been up since 4 o'clock. I'm tired. But I'm taking Washington.
I only took like an hour and a half, 2 hour nap after a 12-hour shift.
Ooh,
And at 8 p.m. last night, didn't get off till 8:15 this morning. So, I mean, I get you. So,
yeah.
but I have to go with the Okay, my mind just went blank. We're going the Commanders, right? Yeah. So,
Commanders and Giants. Yeah.
can you tell it's one of those days? Um,
Right.
I have to go with the Commanders on this one. I mean, the Giants, like you said, they're when the gate opened for the horse races, it's like they turned around and went backwards kind of thing. I mean, they
Right.
did not show up. They haven't showed up all year. They had one fluke game. Um, but they're not. They're definitely, like you said, not a 1-5 team. I mean, the Giants are better than that. The Commanders have been on an uptick this year, and definitely going to be worth watching the rest of the season.
Yeah. I gonna be. Yeah. It's just one of those. Which team is going to show up, and
Yeah,
that the next game is the epitome of which team will show up as the 3-3 Atlanta Falcons take on the 3-2 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that comment is really alluded to the Atlanta Falcons. Will the real Atlanta Falcons please stand up?
yeah,
Again, Atlanta started 2-0. They started with a lot of promise. They beat Carolina. They beat Green Bay, and then all of a sudden, this team that was supposed to be touted as so good kind of went backwards a little bit. They've lost three of their last four games, um, and now traveling to Tampa Bay, where again, the Bucks got beat by the Lions pretty handily last week. Um, but again, with the Falcons, it's hard to really get behind them when they're playing so lackluster. And for that reason alone, I've got to go with the Buccaneers. I think again the hot hand, if you will. Baker Mayfield. He had a bad game against Detroit, but Detroit's also got a really good defense.
yeah.
That being said, um, like I said, the Falcons, they're way too hard to read for me, and it's really hard for me to pick them because every time, who did they play last week? They played the Commanders last week and lost. So again, it's just one of those. It's real hard to pick them
Right.
when they play like they've played the last couple weeks. So that premise alone, I'm going to take Tampa Bay at home.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one. It's almost like a magic trick, or I don't want to say a magic trick, but it's like one of those um, coin tosses. Let's flip a coin. Let's see who's gonna win today, kind of thing. Because neither team has, um, it's they start off good, and then it's like all of a sudden they go
Right.
like engines give out. Like they focus, they motivation, something. Both teams are good teams. I mean, Atlanta Falcons are awesome. So are the Buccaneers. But I mean, this year it just seems like they all went downhill from here. So it's just
Yeah.
going to on who just shows up for the game. This
Yeah, and really, I mean, if you look at the three of the four teams, Atlanta, Tampa Bay, and New Orleans, they're all jumbled in there for the top of the division. And then, of course, you have the Panthers, which I'll talk about them here in just a bit. They're on a bye this week, but they're sitting at 0-6. They're pretty well out of it. But yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see which team is going to take control of this NFC South. Next game, actually I close Sunday, so I won't really get to see a whole lot of football. But really looking forward. This is going to be a jewel. The 5-1 Detroit Lions taking on the 4-2 Baltimore Ravens. This should be a really, really, really good game. Detroit. Um, it eludes me who they lost to, but having a 5-1 record, I mean, they've beaten Kansas City, they beat Tampa Bay pretty handily last week. They beat Green Bay handily a couple weeks ago. Um, a solid offense, a really stout defense.
mm-hmm.
Taking on the Ravens, who they can get Lamar Jackson is a dual threat. He can throw the ball, he can run the ball, and Lamar's got some playmakers. That's really going to test this really young Lions defense, but. I'm I'm gonna go with the again the hot hand. I'm gonna take Detroit on the road, and it's gonna be a close game. I look for this game to come down to maybe a field goal in the last few seconds of the game to give Detroit a win. I haven't been sold on Jared Goff a whole lot, but he's really starting to show me. Hey, you give me some playmakers, I can make something happen, and that's exactly what Jared Goff has done all year. I'm actually quite impressed,
Mm-hmm.
not only with him, but this whole Lions team as a whole. There's a reason they're 5-1.
Oh yeah,
But I'm going to take Detroit on the road in
I
Baltimore.
agree. I definitely got to agree. Detroit they have something going on. I don't know what it is, but it's like they have a well-oiled machine that just is pumping it out, pumping it out. Baltimore has declined over the past couple of years. They're not the same team as they used to be. Um, Now going back to your quarterback that can throw the ball, run the ball, yeah, that's great and all, but you got to have other playmakers that can actually do something that's going to get you somewhere. You can't just have a quarterback that's going to run and throw the ball without
Right.
the rest of the team. So I got to go with Detroit on this one because they are phenomenal this year.
Yeah, they're really playing. I mean, Green Bay is sitting at, which we'll get to Green Bay here in just a bit. They're 2-3. I mean, the rest of the NFC North is just garbage this year. But I mean, Detroit, the one bright spot in that division, for sure. Next up, the 3-2 Pittsburgh Steelers taking on the 3-3 LA Rams. This one for me really comes down to quarterbacks. You have Kenny Pickett for Pittsburgh. You have Matt Stafford for the LA Rams. The Steelers have kind of been, I don't want to say wishy-washy, but it's like, again, Kenny Pickett has been way too inconsistent for me to really feel comfortable picking the Steelers. Not saying he's a bad quarterback, just the inconsistency is what bugs me with Kenny Pickett. The Rams, Matt Stafford, obviously, he's getting up there. He took the Rams to the Super Bowl, 56. So just a couple years ago, over the Bengals. So I mean, Matt Stafford has done
Phenomenal.
in a couple years. Yeah, he's done phenomenal. I was always a Stafford fan, even in Detroit. When they played, against Green Bay twice a year. It's like I always rooted for Matt Stafford because he was a good quarterback in college, and he's proven he can win at the NFL level. Obviously, winning the Super Bowl. And the Rams, obviously, with Cooper Kupp back as that number one wide receiver, that's a dangerous combination. You've got Puka Nakua, young rookie that has played lights out in his own right. This one, I've got the Rams at home. I just think the Rams have too much.
They have
Maybe
to.
maybe not on the defensive side of the ball, but they definitely have. I feel more on the offensive side of the ball. And hey, you got to score points to win games, and I think that the Rams are going to do just that. So,
Going
give
to
me
be
LA at home.
a game. It's going to be a very close game too. I don't think it's going to be a washout game. By no stretch of the imagination. Maybe anywhere between maybe a touchdown to a field goal sense. But the Rams have been on an uptick again this year. Um, Offensive side, they are phenomenal. Defense needs to tighten it up some, but overall, I mean the Rams have my vote this week.
Going with the Rams. All right, we got a even Steven all through, which I love weeks like that because it's like I make mine at work, and I'm like, we'll see.
I kind of play it off like what talked about. I mean, I kind of look at like what the stats
Okay,
from the
we're
previous
almost done.
and whatnot, but I don't write anything down because my vote always changes. Like I write, oh, this is what I'm going to pick, but then I decide, oh no, let me go for this one instead.
Right?
Got to go on the fly there.
Hey, at least you don't pick who's going to win based on helmets or uniforms. I actually, right? I have coworkers like, oh, I think so and so's going to because I like their logo. I'm like, wait, what? No,
That's what we're
doesn't
going to
work
do
that.
next year. Let's see who's going to win the game based upon the logo this time. That's what we're going to
Right,
do next year.
right. Should go by logo. The hell with the players. By God, we're going logos next year. All right. Next up, we have the 1-5 Arizona Cardinals taking on the 3-2 Seattle Seahawks. This I don't want to say this is a mismatch, but the Cardinals are, for lack of better terms, they're ass this year. They haven't played well. I won't mention who their one win is against, but I mean that's back in week 2. A lot's changed since week 2. It was 2 or 3, but either way, the Cardinals.
I think it was week 3.
Yeah, it was. I know it was early on, but yeah.
Giants. It was the Giants and the Jets, and then we played the Cardinals, and yeah.
Okay, so yeah, it sounds like week 3. But either way, yeah, the Cardinals. In case you guys haven't figured it out, the Cardinals' one win is against Dallas. But be that as it may, I got the Seahawks winning this game. I just think this is a mismatch. Again, much like Buffalo and New England, this is two teams going in complete opposite directions. I think the Seahawks have the more complete team, and that really just what it boils down to. So give me the Seahawks at home.
Yeah, the Cardinals I think had a fluke win against Dallas, but overall they're just they're beyond falling off the cliff this year. But Seattle, I don't know, it's going to be a close game. Let's just put it that way. I don't want to say it's going to be a washout game, but it's going to be a good 10 points, give or take, point game.
All right. See what happens now for the interesting game, and I cannot believe I'm. Anyway, the 2-3 Green Bay Packers taking on the 1-5 Denver Broncos. Or the Packers coming off of a bye week. The Packers were banged up. They've been banged up all season long. Not to make excuses for them. Anybody that has watched our videos over the last couple weeks knows. Obviously, Holly's a Dallas fan. I'm a Green Bay fan. um, Taking on a Broncos team that are in need of a win. The Broncos are at home, and I'm actually, based on the way the Green Bay played against Las Vegas, I'm taking the Broncos at home. And the reason I'm taking the Broncos at home is because right now, with all the injuries Green Bay has, Green Bay's become very inconsistent. That bothers me to say that, but the Broncos are in need of a win. And I think being at home, I think being um, under scrutiny. It really comes down to Jordan Love versus Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson is an acclaimed quarterback, Super Bowl champion. And I'm not knocking Jordan Love. He's a rookie. He's going to be, it's going to be a learning year for him.
Oh yeah.
But I think when it comes right down to Green Bay or Denver, who needs the win more? And honestly, right now it's Denver. And I think with all the scrutiny that Denver has been under the last, 3-4 weeks, for Green Bay, it feels like a trap game for them. Hence why I'm going to take Denver at home.
Denver's going to be hungry because they're seeing that, and I mean I hate to say it, I have to agree with you. I think Denver's going to have it this week because of all the injuries that the Packers do have, and they see that weakness and they're going to go for it, and because they're hungry for a win, like you said. So it's going to be on, can the Broncos pull it off? So
Can they play a complete game? Can they play 4 quarters to put a win together?
exactly.
Yeah, I like it. Like I said, it hurts me to pick against them, but like I said, I mean, I got to call a spade when it comes to that.
Like that one week again when we played against, what was it? When Dallas played against the 49ers. I mean, I hate to say that I had to go against Dallas, but I mean,
Yep.
You got to pick as you see it, and I mean that. Ooh.
Right. All right, we have 6 teams on bye, so we only have a couple games left. Next up, an AFC West matchup. These are always divisional matches are always fun. The 2-3 LA Chargers taking on the 5-1 Kansas City Chiefs, as well as uh, LA plays against Kansas City. Um, Anytime you play Kansas City in Kansas City, it's an uphill battle.
Mhm.
Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, two of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now. But with the Chiefs being at home, I look for it to be close, but I like Kansas City at home this week.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I mean, Kansas City is just um, phenomenal this year, so I gotta go with Kansas City.
Kansas City. Wrap up the got the Sunday night game, the Monday night game, and then go have a quick supper, and then get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to work. Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, right. So the Sunday night matchup, we have a beautiful matchup. We have the 5-1 Miami Dolphins against taking on the 5-1 Philadelphia Eagles. This should be a really good game between two really good teams. The Eagles got stunned by the Jets this past week. That's one thing I forgot to mention is that because the two unbeatens are actually in these next couple games. The Eagles and 49ers both fell last week. So there are no more unbeatens in the NFL. There is a winless team, but Miami and Philly, this should be a fantastic game. Two very high powered offenses, two decent defenses. But I have Miami on the road. I like Tua. I like the Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle duo. Not to be outdone, the Eagles signed All Pro wide receiver Julio Jones to a 1-year deal this week. That could play a factor in that. Which when I literally found out after I did my picks, but I'm still going to roll with Miami. I think Miami has a good team. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yeah,
But the Eagles, they lost to the Jets. That makes me a little susceptible of them. But the Dolphins have been playing lights out all year. They hung 70 points on Denver. Was it 2-3 weeks ago? They've got an extremely prolific offense. So yeah, give me Miami on the road. It's going to be close. It's going to be high scoring, but I give the edge to Miami on the road.
yeah. I mean, the both teams are phenomenal this year. I mean, both teams are definitely Super Bowl contenders at least. Not saying that they'll see in the Super Bowl, but they are definitely two contenders that are that would be worth seeing at a Super Bowl game. But I have to go with Miami. I mean, my as much as I would hate to say that they're going to lose against the Eagles, but I don't know the Eagles. I think they need to be shut out, but that's just me though. Just because they're division rivals, but
Right. That's yeah, understandable. Monday night, close this out. We have the 5-1 San Francisco 49ers taking on the 2-4 Minnesota Vikings. The 49ers we talked about with the Browns. All the credit to Cleveland. They shut down Brock Purdy and that 49er defense, or the 49er offense rather. And playing against a Vikings team that has really been a shell of what they could be. Justin Jefferson is out indefinitely. I think he's out for, I believe, 6 weeks. So this is week 2. I think that definitely changes the dichotomy of the Vikings offense, not having their number one receiver out there. Yes, other players can step up, but I think you're playing San Francisco that just got upset on the road. San Francisco is going to be wanting to come and deliver a knockout punch, if you will, to prove it that nothing against Cleveland. It was a fluke, in San Francisco's mind. Hey, we're still, a perennial favorite in the NFC. We're going to rival the likes of Philadelphia, Detroit, which now San Francisco, Philadelphia, and Detroit at 5-1 have the best record in the conference. So, now, NFC games like this, really matter for these teams that are doing well, because when it comes down to playoff seeding later in the year, um, and then you have Kirk Cousins, who doesn't play great in primetime games. At least he hasn't had a history of playing well in primetime games. And for that being said, I'm going to roll with the 49ers on the road.
yeah, I gotta agree with you there. I mean, 49ers have they had the one upset, but I mean that's what you get for wanting to be at top. I mean, you got to get knocked down a peg at some point in time. So, but I don't know. It's going to be a close game. I don't think it's going to be a washout game. I think but it will be a close game, not high scoring, probably mid score. But I have to go with the 49ers on this one.
So there we go. We got everything. Heck yeah, we match on everything, which I love weeks like that. It's like, hey, all right. So recapping, we have the Jaguars over the Saints. We have the Bears over the Raiders. The Browns over the Colts. Bills over the Patriots. Commanders over the Giants. Buccaneers over the Falcons. Lions over the Ravens. Rams over the Steelers. Seahawks over the Cardinals. Broncos over the Packers. Chiefs over the Chargers. Dolphins over the Eagles. And the 49ers over the Vikings. And then on the bye week, we have the Cincinnati Bengals, the Dallas Cowboys, the Tennessee Titans, the New York Jets, the Carolina Panthers, and the Houston Texans. So there we go, guys. That is a wrap on that. Going to sign off of here and grab some supper. And yeah, so definitely want to thank you guys very, very much for watching. As always, thank you to Holly for being on board for this. We've talked several times. We have a blast doing this week in, week out. Definitely, I don't think it gives me something to look forward to every week. But when it comes to streaming, I love streaming as it is. But when you get to do collaborative streams, they're always a little bit more fun.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely want to thank everybody for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you've not done so already. And make sure to give Holly's Adventures a sub and a thumbs up as well. She is very good at what she does as well. Definitely want to thank you guys. And make sure you guys go. Also want to thank my sponsor, Poggers. You can find their website at www.drinkpoggers.com/kennel. Using my code word will net you 10% savings on everything on their website. You guys be good to yourselves and to each other. And Holly and I will be back next week with week 8. And over the next couple of days, we're going to get the LA Noir series wrapped up. And then I have a couple different options. I don't know what I'm going to switch over to, but yeah, definitely going to wrap up LA Noir in the next couple of days so we can get something new on the horizon. So, as always, thank you guys so much. Holly, thank you again. And we'll catch you guys in the next video. Catch Holly and I on our respective channels. So, thanks, guys. And we'll catch you guys in the next video.
Laters.